I'm Gorilla Monsoon.
And I'm thankful that I'm not.
Oh, you just can't help yourself, can you, huh?
I don't help anyone.
Huh.
Unless they've got the cash.
I'm going to help you out the door if you don't stop.
If you can fit
anyway,
through
folks,
it.
I'm going to knock you out.
Excuse me, but, is anyone going to introduce me, bro?
All right. And this is Vince Russo.
I thought it was the mailman.
Huh. Why don't you be serious?
Smells like one.
Well, what the frig, bro?
All right, enough. Folks, coming up in just a short is a podcast hosted by two guys you've never heard of and probably never will.
Monsoon knows a guy who knows a guy, if you know what I'm saying.
I get it.
Oh, will you stop? Folks, Chris and George or something, they do the Hot Tag podcast, and here it is.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hot Tag Wrestling Show. I am Chris Francesco. That is George the Animal Rogers. George, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm straight out of Harlem, New York tonight, apparently.
Damn right you are.
And I'm fucking here for it, man.
Would you say that's probably top 15 all time?
It's top 5 all time.
You know what's funny? I think if someone said to me, name your top 5 favorite wrestling theme songs, I think Harlem Heat might make number 5.
It's like, I would definitely have it if it's just in terms of how iconic it is, for the fact that it was a Harlem Heat theme and then Booker T used it for a solo run.
Right.
Like, not just used it for solo in WCW, used it in WWE, used a variation of it in TNA.
Right.
And is using it now. It's iconic. It's not like when Hogan was over in fucking TNA and you got that weird, sort of NWO music, but if it was done by Def Rebel.
That's right. Yeah. I agree. I would probably put Harlem Heat up there. It's one of those ones that if I'm at the gym or if I'm driving and I want to listen to some wrestling tunes, Harlem Heat is always one that's in my rotation. So
I prefer the WCW Harlem Heat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With the whispering and then having that weird giggle in it.
Yep.
It's still the exact same song in WWE. Just it starts off with "Can you dig it, sucker?" And then when he went solo in WCW, and we'll get to this when we eventually hit those years, I think it was still the same song, but I think it started out with him saying, "Don't hate the player, hate the game," and then it cut into the music.
Oh boy, I'm going to go find that on YouTube.
Which was weird because I was thrown off because I guess they tried to make that a catchphrase for him, but not really as good as "Can you dig it, sucker?" or Hulk Hogan, "We coming for you."
Don't go that far.
No.
But I will say though, when it comes to, I'm trying to think.
I say save the drama for your mama.
That's true. He did say that. Yeah. I will also say I wanted, because of the significance of this episode that we're covering, I wanted to use the Outsiders WCW song, but it is so terrible that I just was like,
bad.
No.
I'm angry that it's in the 2K games. I'm like, really? This you can't just give me the Wolfpack theme. I gotta have this shitty ass bad Jimmy Hart Outsider.
So bad. Or I just feel like it was something that was used in TNT for some drama that they just forgot that they had, and they said, "Ooh, we'll give this to the cool dudes that are coming into WCW."
It was so bad. It's like it was used for a promo for a rerun of NYPD Blue.
And you know what else? That's hilarious. You know what else? It struck me as I watched, further on of what the shows that we're covering. The NWO theme took 2 months to show up.
Yeah.
They almost came out to nothing usually, which is weird to hear. It's the first time you hear the NWO theme was when Scott Hall invades the broadcast booth and plays it on a little computer. And I'm thinking, oh, what the hell is this? It's the NWO theme. And then, 2 or 3 weeks later, they start coming out to it. So
he's like, hey, yo, listen to the song I got right here. It's oh, all right.
So this week, everybody, we're finally here. We've been talking about it since September. Even when we got to like April, our shows, we're thinking, man, we're almost there. We're almost at where the scales start to really tip in the Monday Night Wars, and we're embarking on that 83 consecutive weeks. We're not there yet, but we're about to get into the beginning of where Raw was, WWF was almost put out of business by the WCW, and the main reason for that is the date. The catalyst of it all is this episode of Monday Nitro. It's when Scott Hall makes his debut as an invader into WCW programming. We will talk about that, but first, I do kind of want to talk about, in terms of what's going on in the current product. George, you and I were talking about it yesterday. Actually, we were talking about it.
We've been talking about it all week. We've been talking about it all week.
We've been talking about it for a while now, and it's the elephant in the room in terms of what's going on, and that's how poor of a job WWE Creative is doing with Heyman, Rollins, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. We thought for sure when this happened, we were all super pumped. We're a month or two into this thing, and we're quickly realizing that, there's no point to have Paul Heyman there, and there's no elevation at all to Reed or Braun Breaker. They're basically, getting beat up by Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw, and I'm thinking to myself, this does not happen to the Bloodline in their prime. This doesn't happen to the Shield. Why is this happening now?
Yeah, this is, and Dean and I were talking about this earlier too. That we all got excited because Paul Heyman was going to sign up with Seth Rollins, and we're like, oh, like Heyman's going to do for Rollins what he did for Brock Lesnar, what he did for Roman Reigns, like elevate him. Like anybody who was even remotely linked to the Bloodline got some sort of elevation to it.
For sure.
Whether you feel that way, like with Jimmy Uso, who is suffering from some very severe Jannetty syndrome right now. Like even fucking Solo's got a title right now, so it's kind of wild. Poor Jimmy Uso is just getting the shit end of the stick, but yeah, all Rikishi could talk about is Jay. But
right.
I guess go off, sir, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Crash out all you want, but you got like 9 kids and you're worried about one of them. So
I know.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit, Keish. But it just seems that with Braun and you and I got like pumped like the day after WrestleMania when Braun Breaker showed to be like a line with Seth. Like, all right, let's see where this goes. Mm-hmm. And so far, it has gone nowhere. Yeah, like Seth has the Money in the Bank briefcase, but look at the players in that match. He was the only person who was going to walk out with that briefcase. In all seriousness, because none of those the only other guy who may have been ready to hold that would have been LA Knight.
Right.
But obviously, there's a little bit of a feud going on right now between Seth and LA Knight. But also, apparently, there's a feud going on with Seth and Punk. Mm-hmm. There's a feud going on with Seth and the Bronze, so I'm going to call them, with Penta and Sammy and Jey Uso. It's like, all right, who exactly are you feuding with? Where is this going? And this whole thing with Heyman, it's not working because Heyman isn't talking. He's just there. Like, and I get it. Seth doesn't need a mouthpiece.
No, he doesn't.
So he comes out and he does this cackling horse shit.
Yep.
And the people sing his theme and he's prancing like a fucking one of the Lippin's ponies. Just like doing his normal shit. It's like, dude, like I need you to be from a fan perspective. I get it. It works for some people, but I want to boo you. I don't want to like boo you because I'm sick of seeing the gimmick. I want to boo you because I want you to make me believe that you're a threat to my favorite face wrestlers. That's the whole point of it. I need to believe that you're a dyed-in-the-wool heel, and I'm not getting that.
Right. I
I
agree.
get you coming out every week saying, I'm taking it, or like whatever. I don't even know what his promos are anymore because there's no point to them.
Yeah.
Heyman needs to be the only person holding the stick. The only person. I mean, clearly, Bronson Reed should never have a microphone in his hand, and Braun Breaker is Steiner. So don't you dare put a microphone in his hand
That's right.
until he starts bleaching his hair white. That's when you put the microphone in his hand. That's the only time I want to hear it. Because even when he cuts a promo, it's just he's just recycling old Scott Steiner promos.
Yeah, that's all he's doing.
And I get it from like an aspect. You know what? I appreciate it for the, you want to do Steiner math. I'll get a chuckle out of it. But unfortunately that's all you have.
Mm-hmm.
Heyman should be hyping at the very least these two guys up.
Agreed.
And they're not.
No.
Braun Breaker didn't even qualify for the Money in the Bank briefcase. He didn't qualify for the King of the Ring. Bronson Reed, same thing. So what exactly is the point of these guys?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going after tag gold. Yeah, they're winning like tag matches they're in, but then they're getting chased off by Jey Uso in a steel chair. Honestly, if you got a guy like Bronson Reed and a guy like Braun Breaker, they should not be running away from anybody with a steel chair.
Agreed.
And I mean, no disrespect to Jey Uso. He is a former world champion. That's how you're going to portray him. Fine. I'm okay with that. Because it helps his credibility as him not just being a flash in the pan main eventer. He comes out, he saves his buddies with a chair. It boosts him. It elevates him.
It does.
But these guys aren't getting elevated. Something needs to happen.
No.
And I don't understand why the creative with them is kind of stalling. But there are other aspects when you look at the product where the creative seems to be firing all cylinders. The entire women's division is just on fire right now.
Yeah, they are.
Judgment Day. I mean, Dom is getting pops, massive pops in Judgment Day. Judgment Day is getting over their they have all the titles. They got the Intercontinental, they got the tag and the women's tag. Quietly, they've done this. Over on the SmackDown side, the SmackDown tag division is showing signs of promise. Like there's like reasons to want to watch. Also, SmackDown going back to 2 hours this week.
Thank God.
Yeah. So they kind of came to their senses on that one. So that should be a nice, tightly run show. Even like what everything they're doing with like Randy Orton, like there's shades of a heel turn with Cody Rhodes, there's shades of a heel turn. We got a little bit of Punk and Gunther this week. So maybe that's something down the road that we're going to get too. I'll take a Punk Gunther feud all day.
Yeah, for sure.
The Cena stuff, he's doing well, like in promos, but the matches have been extremely formulaic at this point. Like, why did 7 people interfere in that match again, like with him and Punk at Night of Champions?
Again, I mean, these are just things that I wish I had an answer for.
Like, be a heel, but you don't need interference in every single match.
No,
do like your heel. Do like classic Ric Flair heel shit. You know, a ref bump, a low blow, like a chair shot with the belt, like whatever. I'm fine with that. I don't need 40 fucking people running down to the ring if there's no point to it. Yeah, I get it. Like Seth, teased a cash in and then said, "No, it's all about making sure CM Punk doesn't win the title." It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Why are we back on this? If you're gonna feud with Punk, feud with fucking Punk. Like, stop just doing anything else at this point. But now he's also feuding with LA Knight. So it's like, dude, you're all over the place.
Yeah.
Everything with Seth is all over the place. And I honestly don't understand what's going on.
I agree, man. And again, you and I, we've talked about this, man. And it's one of those things where you get so hyped for things these days and you think it's going to be so special because, we look back now, the bloodline was just unreal for as long as they were able to hold on to it. They were able to make it, just when you thought it was going to be dead, they made it more interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe just, we're not there. And I don't know how much input Seth Rollins really has in this whole thing. My assumption is if he wants to do something, he can do it. He's got that pull. He's been there 13 years now, or so. He's probably one of those guys where he doesn't need a script. You know, Triple H probably says, look, just go out there, hit these points, and let's go home and do what you got to do. If Seth Rollins thinks this is all good stuff, then I think he's better off being a singles competitor and just being a really good in-ring worker, because running a stable is not his thing.
Apparently not. I mean, well, definitely not when you got Paul Heyman there. Paul Heyman seems useless. This is what I would like. Just if I had my own like way with this is what I would do. Whenever Seth comes out and like Braun and Bronson, I want Seth in a suit, like a pressed, like just a black suit. You know, like nothing flashy, no like pocket watch, like Cody has, and like Cody's like dressed to the nines, like he's going to church in Atlanta,
right?
So it's like, but they have Seth come out like black suit, whatever. Not be the architect, because the architect we've been there, but give me shades of that. Yeah, I want to see you beat Evil. I want to see you not talking unless you have to talk. Heyman, if you got Heyman with you, Heyman should be doing all of the mic work. Unless somebody comes out and they want to confront, then like Seth can get angry and grab the microphone and cackle or whatever the hell it is that he's going to do. It's the only damn thing he's been doing on the microphone. Like Heyman needs to get these guys over, or I should say, they have to let Heyman run with this. They have to let him kind of roll. And then I pointed out to you, like on Raw, I thought it was really weird. In the main event, it was the Bronze against Penta and Sami Zayn, and they had Michael Cole had made a comment, like Seth Rollins has left the building, like he's on his way to the airport, but then Paul Heyman still has the Money in the Bank briefcase in his hand. Why does Paul Heyman have that briefcase? I get like you're the manager, but if Seth isn't out there with you, you don't need to hold that belt.
I agree.
When the Usos had a tag match, Heyman didn't come out with the fucking Universal title over his shoulder.
You're right.
Like that's Roman's property. As just as the briefcase is Seth's property. It shouldn't be with anybody else but them. That's how I see it. There's also a pretty funny comment because they were in Pittsburgh and they had members of the Steelers in the crowd. And they were talking about, I think they were talking about somebody. They're like, oh, the Steelers should sign him. And I think Corey Grayson mentions like, yeah, the Steelers should sign anybody these days.
I didn't notice that. Oh, I wish I would have heard that.
And then Michael Cole did his JETS Jets nonsense.
Yeah, he's a massive Jets fan.
Yeah, as if things could be worse for that guy.
I know, right? But yeah, I'm with you, man. I hope it gets better, but I really just don't foresee it right now. And the reason why I don't foresee it is I just don't know what they can do to make it better. Maybe he does have the wrong people with him. Maybe Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker aren't the guys. This is why I actually think I liked having Ricky Starks as a guy, because he's got swagger. He can go. He can talk.
I think Braun is the guy. I think Braun Breaker is the guy.
Braun Breaker, I think, is the guy. Yeah.
Bronson Reed, I get it. He's not Samoan, but put him with Solo's group. Like he helped him out in the War Games match. That seemed to work a little bit. I mean, since Tongaloa is back from his injury, so Solo's got him again. Hikuleo just made his debut. So, there's no shortage of Samoans in the system. So there's plenty to go around. Hikuleo actually has a decent look because the dude's like 7 feet tall. So we got a 7-foot Samoan now.
That's right.
We got variety, folks. They're not all just Jacob Fatu and Jey Uso.
No, they're definitely not.
But have him just go around being like a wrecking ball. Like Bronson Reed, you give him a little bit of a feud with like Rusev or Sheamus. They had a fucking banger match on Raw. That was a hard hitting affair, which is what you would assume from the two of them. But now what I want is for them to form a tag team like the Bar again.
God, I love the Bar. It's one of my favorite all-time tag teams.
They were so fucking good.
Yeah. I'll never forgive Vince for just giving up on Cesaro. That's just my opinion.
The bar is like it is almost like it kind of gives you a look of what could have been with TNA had they just had some belief behind them.
Agreed. Totally agree. All right, so we are going to get moving into what our topics is for today, which is obviously the Monday Night Wars, Raw versus Nitro from May 27th, 1996. I'm going to delay the inevitable, and I'm going to cover Monday Night Raw first. How about that?
You son of a bitch.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I always like try to have it up my phone, like ready to go, like to have my notes, but then you always change it up. So every week I always end up having the wrong thing ready to go, and then I have to go back in and change it. It's like you're spying on my phone. You're like, oh, he's got Nitro up. I'm going to start with Raw.
I'm sorry. All right, so we are shockingly live from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Whoa!
I know
they're in North Carolina. Whoa, they're in Flair country.
Yeah, we're not in Sioux City anymore.
Did they get Ric Flair's permission to be in North Carolina? Because Kevin Green didn't get Ric Flair's permission to be in Carolina.
That's right, he didn't, bastard. Your hosts are Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler. We open up with a King of the Ring qualifier, Goldust versus the Ultimate Warrior. Hopefully, this will be better than that atrocious In Your House match. Look. Vince, there's a point where Vince claims that Warrior, #1 is the highest selling comic book in the world at that point.
Yeah, in '96, I'm sure.
Given that, it was pretty much impossible for any of the indie presses in 1996 to ship more comics than your average Batman or X-Men at that point, I would find that statement, what do they call, highly dubious, in my opinion.
Extremely highly dubious. Just looking at 96 alone, not comic wise, but look at the TV that we had in 96. We had BTOS, we had Superman the Animated Series, we had Spider-Man the Animated Series, we had X-Men. Like, I'm sorry, who was giving a shit about the Warrior when like everyone our age was running out to buy like the latest X-Men comic? And I could be mistaken. I'll get corrected. I'm pretty sure the wedding of Cyclops and Jean Grey happened in the mid 90s. So. Yeah, I guess cook, Vince, if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, it gets worse in this opener here. Anything with Warrior is just a nightmare in this era. I mean, in any era, really, except for WrestleMania 6. But his match actually against Macho was good, but that had nothing to do with Warrior. We get to like the end here. Warrior makes a comeback. Goldust runs away again with Warrior following him this time for the world's most boring double count out finish at 14 minutes and 50 seconds. George, are you kidding me with this? What world is Warrior wrestling longer than 5 minutes?
What world is if it ain't WrestleMania 6, this motherfucker shouldn't be in the ring longer than it takes for my hair to dry when I get out of the shower. Like unreal. And he got blown up after like 7 minutes. It's like, wow. Now this match is all Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt. Both guys are now tragically eliminated from the King of the Ring tournament.
Oh no.
Goldust
still has the Intercontinental title. He's doing just fine.
Yeah. Jerry Lawler tries to attack Warrior with a chair, but it goes nowhere. And that's the kickoff to their own feud, which gets even better later on.
That's the feud we're looking for. That's I don't understand how they even stayed in business in 96 with shit like this.
I mean, they almost didn't.
Hey, so listen, thank the wrestling gods that the curtain call happened like a week and a day prior to this. Just not for the fact that the other two went to jump ship, but just for the fact that Triple H had to eat shit for like a year because all it did was open the door to Austin, and praise Austin because he probably single-handedly saved that fucking company.
That's it.
Going under.
No doubt in my mind. I know a lot of times you can kind of say like this person didn't single-handedly save the business. Hulk Hogan single-handedly elevated the business to a global juggernaut in the 80s. And then Hulk Hogan saved a wrestling promotion with the NWO and made us, for probably the last time in our lifetime, have a legitimate competitor to the WWE.
Mhm.
And then Stone Cold was the guy who is the only guy to ever save a business single-handedly. Stone Cold Steve Austin single-handedly saved the WWF. And, we'll eventually obviously get into all of that as time goes on.
And that's only a couple weeks away.
For sure. Yes, it is. Meanwhile, Ted DiBiase, speaking of Steve Austin, is so confident that Austin will win. He'll leave the WWF if his client, I guess you could say, Stone Cold, cannot beat Savio Vega at Beware of Dog 2. Beware of Dog 1 was so good, they figured they'd do it twice.
Is that what happened? Because I don't think that's what happened.
No, I don't think that's what happened either.
Yeah, I don't think that's. My notes say something different, but they could be wrong because I did lose power for.
That's right.
The entire pay-per-view.
You did, yeah, and I bet you didn't get a refund either.
No, I did not. I did, however, get a sequel to a pay-per-view that I didn't ask for.
That's right.
Thank you, Vince.
Yeah. Next up is the Smoking Guns versus the Body Donnas. For those keeping track, the idea is now supposed to be that the Guns are heels with Sonny as a manager, and the Body Donnas are now baby faces. So, but this has been so poorly executed, George, that you could tell the fans are giving them the reverse reaction.
This is a whole thing. This is a whole fucking thing. Now, when you say the Smoking Guns, are you referring to the tag team names of this group, Mr. Bartholomew Gunn and Mr. William Gunn?
That's correct.
Or are you referring to Sonny coming out in that very very nice top that she had?
I will say yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure for my notes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
He should have gone by Bartholomew Gunn. That would have been great.
Yeah, I agree. We get near the end here. Billy comes in, gets double teamed, and Donna, not Sonny. Billy comes in and gets double teamed. Then Adonis hit Bart with a slingshot suplex, but Skip tries a flying body press, and Bart rolls through the pin at just about 11 minutes and 40 seconds. The apparent heel Smoking Guns ended up being an effective act right around here, but this was as good, I guess, as it can probably get with these two teams. What was your thoughts? I actually enjoy the Smoking Guns. I thought they were really good workers.
I love the Smoking Guns. I mean, Billy Gunn probably one of the most underrated workers of all time. Mm-hmm. Extremely reliable. He'll give you a good match. I mean, he can't go very long because of asthma, hence why he was always in tag teams. Mm-hmm. But Billy will make it look like $1 million. Mm-hmm. Problem is, Skip and Zip are so fucking awful. Together, I mean, like together. Chris Candido by himself is fantastic. Dr. Tom Pritchard, however, it's weird that you can be the worst Pritchard brother in the ring, and your brother is Bruce.
That's right. Main event time. King of the Ring qualifier, Ahmed Johnson versus the man they call Vader. Now, I know on paper, everyone's probably thinking, oh boy, this is going to be absolutely terrible. It was not. It was, look, I thought it was actually fun to watch. It was a slugfest to start. Ahmed beats the hell out of Vader in the corner. The crowd goes batshit for him, dude. Like, the crowd is all for Ahmed Johnson.
Yo, Ahmed was getting in with them kicks, man. He was getting like he would throw a kick to Vader, and then like the momentum just spun him around. It's like and I know that's not planned because Ahmed Johnson has some of the worst in-ring psychology since Eugene. And I'm not talking about Nick Dinsmore. I'm talking about Eugene. If you know the reference, you know exactly what I'm saying too, without actually saying it, so we don't get in trouble.
That's right.
But I can only assume he was heated because Vader does not pull his punches ever in his life.
No, Vader pulls nothing at all. Mm-hmm. So you're right. But yeah, man, if getting to near the end of this match, you get a power slam and Ahmed Hall's cornet in for a beating. A disgusted Owen Hart runs in from commentary and nails Ahmed with his broken arm cast, giving Vader the win at 11 minutes.
And his snakeskin cowboy boots, man, those are fresh.
They were nice.
HBK was pissed. He's like, oh man, that guy looks great in boots and I don't.
That's right. I tuck my jeans in mine. I wear overalls and I tuck them at the bottom.
Oh God, somebody did that at work the other day and I wanted to just walk away.
Oh man. This was a really fun match with Vader, obviously letting Ahmed just lay into him. Dude, this was really good. I wouldn't put it as my main event of Monday Night Raw, but if they would have started off the show with this, what a kick-ass opener that would have been.
Problem is, this would have opened the show, and the main event would have been Warrior and Goldust.
Yeah, you're screwed either way.
Yeah, I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Unfortunately,
yeah, you're right.
And I could be wrong, Chris. Maybe you can correct me on this. Was this Ahmed's first TV loss?
I'm pretty certain this was Ahmed's first television loss.
Because we've only seen this dude win when he's been on Raw. So
you're right. Meanwhile, the doctors haul Ahmed to the back on a stretcher, but Goldust comes in here and gives Ahmed mouth to mouth.
Good guy, Goldust.
Good guy, Goldust. A horrified Ahmed wakes up with gold paint on his lips and kills the first fool who gets in his way. In this case, was Sparkplug, Bob Holly. He drives, some poor dweeb through Goldust's dressing room door, takes out the cameraman.
That was after he got stooged off by Mark Marrow.
Oh my gosh, I know. That was a pretty great angle. Maybe want to see Ahmed destroy Goldust, which he eventually obviously does. But yeah, that was not a bad ending to this Raw. I thought it was a solid show, George, aside from whoever the hell.
Yeah. And we didn't get the usual minutes. And we didn't get the usual, like, just Vince and Jerry Lawler talking us off. Like, it ended, in an angle, like with an angle. Right. And we have ripped Ahmed Johnson since his debut, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But when he fucking murdered that poor Bret Hart wannabe through the door, that looked good.
It really did. It did. I liked it. But again, like I said, this was a really decent Monday Night Raw. And like I said, as you were talking, I apologize for that. But man, everything was great except for whatever idiot said, you know what, we're going to give Warrior 15 minutes tonight on live television.
Whatever dumbass thought that was a fucking good idea.
Oh my God.
Vince.
All right.
Cornette didn't fucking write that segment. He's like, you out of your fucking mind? This fishy white bastard getting 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's go to the main event here, which is only one segment because Nitro is this might be the worst Nitro we've covered. And we've covered some real doozies outside of what happens. We'll let you be the judge of it. We are live from somewhere. I don't remember where the show was at, but
Macon, Georgia.
That's it. Macon, Georgia.
The old Macon Coliseum.
Yep. We're in hour number 1, which was always my favorite hour because it was Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko.
Because we got real fucking commentators and not some jerk off in a fucking want to be Harley Davidson vest.
Will you agree with me that Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko are a very underrated tandem?
Absolutely. Larry Zbyszko was a hell of a good fucking color man.
Larry Zbyszko, you know what I loved about him is how quick-witted he was. If he was going to make fun of the New World Order, he never missed it. He never missed a beat, man. He was so good.
When I was younger, I thought his name was Larry Nabisco.
Oh, you know what's funny? So did I. And I remember reading one of the magazines at Tower Records, and it said Larry Zbyszko. I was like, that's a typo.
It's like, wait a minute, you mean I've been wrong this whole time? No, it's WCW that's wrong.
And it was the Observer, so it's like, oh, this has to be wrong.
No, it's got to be wrong. I mean,
They're at ringside, which immediately gives the show obviously a different look and feel, which I loved about that. Tony Schiavone, man, is leagues above Bischoff as an announcer. I mean, even Zbyszko is above Bischoff as an announcer. So to me, like immediately the show feels more important. And I've always felt that way about Nitro from this era moving on because Schiavone and Zbyszko led the show off. And I was happy about that.
Eventually we do end up getting like the best of both worlds because I think it does eventually it goes to a 3-man booth with Schiavone, Zbyszko, and Heenan at one point.
Yeah.
Like it's like, all right, this is perfection at this point. And then even better when they would bring on Tenay every now and then too, because Tenay was, oh my God, like Tenay was the guy you needed because he knew everything about everybody.
And Japanese, yeah.
Yeah, you get Dusty up there. He's like, oh, they're jumping around. They don't know the flippy stuff, man. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing good. They get me excited. Oh, I'm getting all excited as a son of a plumber.
Yeah, what a move by that Rey Mysterium. Eddie's Guerrero with that splash of frog.
They call this guy psychosis because he's psychotic, baby. He's crazy.
What's a juventude?
Juventude? I don't know. He's wild, man. He's flying all around.
Let's kick it off with some good stuff here. The American Males versus Ric Flair and Arn Anderson.
I will shut this fucking show off immediately.
I know. I will say though, Liz looked good.
Liz and Woman always looking good.
Yeah, Woman. I feel, man, it hurts me when I watch Nitro because I'm like, dude, Woman was a woman.
Listen, I know the future. Not that. Yeah, right. I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
I know the future of 96 and what's eventually going to happen in terms of storyline wise. And in a couple months, this shit's going to get real uncomfortable to talk about.
Oh, you're right. Big time.
When Benoit and Sullivan like have their program and like Woman is involved, this shit is going to get really uncomfortable to watch and to talk about.
Yeah, very difficult, man.
I'm still going to do it because I'm a professional.
Well, also, it's been a long time. I mean, we're going on almost 19 years at this point.
Yeah, and we're going on 29 years from this. So we're gonna man up. We're gonna be professional the whole way and not crack any jokes.
I have no issues talking about Chris Benoit. I have zero issues.
As far as I'm concerned, he retired in 2007 and he's living a quiet life of solitude.
Yeah, that's damn right he is. The same area as Tupac, I'm sure. So this match was what it was, man. To get to the end, you get a perfect plex on Flair, but Arn Anderson comes in, kicks Bagwell in the face to break it up, and then Woman pokes him in the eye. Arn hits that beautiful pitch-perfect DDT to finish at just under 12 minutes. That was some glorious cheating at the end. I love the finish. It's rare in WCW to get a really good finish. That was a great finish.
The finish almost makes up for the match.
Oh, absolutely. Flair is so excited that he dumps champagne all over himself, and poor Elizabeth can't help but crack up at it. Afterwards, Arn lets us know that he has no respect for anyone who wears protective gear, and Flair sings Afternoon Delight in tribute of Woman. Also, he clarifies that Savage makes money makes Liz his sugar mama. I'm impressed that Liz was able to keep it together as good as she could with this just maniac cutting this weird promo of nothing.
Here's the difference, though. Flair's nothing promos are still really entertaining.
Oh,
they
yeah,
don't tell you
crazy.
They don't tell you a fucking thing.
No,
but this man is just raucous, pouring champagne over himself and singing Afternoon Delight, making a reference to the fact that he is fucking Woman and Liz in the middle of the day.
Yeah, he's
what a legend.
Yeah,
poor Arn is sitting there. He's like, Arn's like, I'm married. I don't do this kind of thing. Let me ask you a quick question now.
Sure.
Why did Why was Arn using a DDT as a finisher and not a spine buster?
Good question, actually.
I mean, like, when he hit the DT and like, I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, why didn't he just do like the double A spine buster? Because Bagwell would have sold that like a fucking champ.
Yeah, I agree.
Or Riggs, both of them. Give them both spine busters. Spine busters all around.
Yeah, spine busters all around. Meanwhile, Mongo and Kevin Green lift some weights in a vignette here in preparation for the Horsemen.
That was weird.
All you could hear was they're coming hard all day long, baby.
They're coming hard. Yeah,
that was something.
They're grunting and sweating. We're coming hard, baby. Yeah, all right, Mongo. All right. Get your Halliburton briefcase ready.
So let's get into it now, because here we go. This is the moment that everything changed, and I just want everyone to
a main event anywhere.
That's right. That's right. The match that no one seems to remember that was going on really at this time was Steve Dahl versus the Mauler.
Listen, Steve Dahl and the Mauler, no slouches on their own. These guys used to be in the WWF. Steve Dahl used to be Steven Dunn of that great tag team Well Done.
Damn right.
And the Mauler was one of the Beverly brothers.
That's right. Yeah.
And would eventually just go by his real name of Mike Enos. He should have just stayed as the Mauler.
I agree. So that's right. Colonel Parker is now managing Mike Enos, which must be earth-shattering.
Not like it'll help.
Yeah, that's probably the earth-shattering thing that changed wrestling. Well, but
yeah, that's it.
You know.
Yeah.
During this little match that was pretty terrible, we get a commercial break. When we get back from commercial break, the crowd is all distracted, and you look up from the hard camera. Here comes Razor Ramon coming into the ring in his basically Canadian tuxedo, and we know who he is.
Hey, he's the Diamond Stud.
He's here. Yep. The match just stops. I mean, the dudes just get out of the ring and walk away. Hall gets in the ring. He declares war on billionaire Ted and WCW and promises to return tonight to issue a challenge to weatherman wannabe Eric Bischoff. I can definitely see where Titans lawyers would take issue with this, because this was clearly Razor Ramon like talking. This wasn't like Scott Hall. This was Razor insinuating that he was representing WWF. This was pretty brilliant as an angle, though, because Hall referenced Scheme Gene, the Nacho Man, and all the characters that the WWF themselves used as their cheap shots at WCW. And here's WCW turning it around and making actual money off of it. Meltzer had a really good take on this. He said, however, admits the attempt at a cure for insomnia was the debut of Scott Hall, done in a manner that is almost certainly to be one of the biggest money angles of the year. And obviously that ended up being a massive understatement, but he had his finger on the pulse of that one. Because you really don't know how WCW is going to handle a star like Razor. So kudos to Dave for assuming like this is probably going to be a big money angle. And it was.
Don't worry. The wheels will fall off of him real fucking quick.
Yeah. So, man, what do you this is it, man. This is where it all changes. And we talk about this for years, where people talk about, the NWO is the most important thing that ever happened, or Austin 316. None of that occurs, man, if Scott Hall first doesn't come out and make this thing where I remember watching this dude in 1996. And I remember thinking, what the hell is Razor Ramon doing on WCW? And the way they present it, he's coming out through the crowd. He just gets in, grabs a microphone, and he says, I love the word, the quote, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. To this day, I almost get goosebumps, because I'm like, I remember myself watching this live on TV thinking, that's Razor. What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the
the shot across the bow.
This is the biggest shot across the bow. This is pretty much the one that does the severe damage to the boat. This is like the iceberg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially. But this is the first real like stab at the sleeping giant, as it's monumental at this point. I mean, yeah, like we get Hogan's eventual heel turn.
Yeah.
But Hogan's heel turn doesn't happen if Scott Hall doesn't show up.
I agree.
I mean, we don't get Austin 316 if the curtain call doesn't happen. But the curtain call doesn't happen if Razor Ramon doesn't decide to leave the WWF and Kevin Nash.
Mm-hmm. It's just unreal, dude, to just... I mean, we talk about it all the time, sometimes ad nauseum, but like sometimes I have to talk about it to myself to realize how important this was in like my lifetime. This will never happen again. It just won't. Unless and we've talked about this. I think you and I said it one of the times you were at my house and we were just, BSing about wrestling. The only thing that would ever compare is if Cena just walked out on AEW Dynamite or Roman Reigns just walked out on AEW Dynamite.
I will say we got close to this. It had happened. Well, not in this timeline. It didn't happen yet, but it will happen. And that's in January of 2000 when Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn just walk out and sit in the front row. When literally the day before we saw those guys on a WCW pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That was probably the closest that we got to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the camera even called out to him like, oh, hey, like, what are those guys doing here? Like, they're supposed to be over, on the other place. Like Al Snow knows them immediately from ECW, and he's like glad hand shaking. Then they get into a brawl. Like that ends up being a whole fucking thing. Mm-hmm. That is probably the closest that we will have ever gotten to this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because even that was shocking because it's like, oh, holy shit! Like these guys were literally just on fucking TV.
I know. I mean, Chris Benoit was the world champion.
3 of them were in the same faction. Like
I know.
2 months prior.
I know. And it's just crazy because everyone goes, oh, well, Hulk Hogan is the biggest moment in wrestling history. Well, yes, it's the biggest shock in wrestling history, hands down, joining the NWO, turning heel. That'll never be duplicated. But Scott Hall had to happen first.
Yeah.
This wasn't an era. If this was this era, this would have meant nothing because the social media era would have murdered it.
That's another reason why it could never happen today, because it would get fucking spoiled by Sapp and Wade Keller and Meltzer and Alvarez and every other jerk off.
Because they love the business so much.
They love the business so much that they want to spoil a surprise for everybody. That's like finding out what you're getting for Christmas in July.
Right.
I mean, although if Meltzer's doing it, he's telling you what you're getting for Christmas, and then when it comes, you're getting something completely different.
Well, plans changed, pal.
Yeah, plans changed. Yeah. Like my mom didn't pay off the layaway, so I had to get something else. Like
layaway.
This was, yeah. I'm that old. I'm layaway old.
That Kmart window for
You're
layaway.
Welcome. It's more like Ames. I grew up outside of Wrightstown. We had names.
Oh, dude, I'll never forget layaway.
But before his names, it was a James Way. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, man. Oh, I mean, for me, before Ames, it was Caldor.
Caldor and Bradley's right there on 130.
Yes,
the old Lake Village Mall. Yeah,
That was. I remember. I'll never forget Kmart, man. When the layaway window was always right next to the shoes. So I'll never forget always going with my dad when he was picking up layaway stuff, and it's like such those random dumb core memories that you'll always remember. Like you and I talked about.
Was that the Kmart in Burlington on 541?
No, Route 130, where
130,
where the Target is now, and right next to it used to be the movie theater.
Oh, okay. Because like for me, when we went to Kmart, it was the one in Burlington on 541 where the ShopRite is right now.
Wow. Yeah. No, it was always the Kmart. So it was always that Route 130. It was where the Target is now, everybody. That used to be a huge Kmart. Right next to the Kmart used to be a AMC movie theater. It's called AMC Millside. That's where like I saw all the movies like in the 90s, like Mission Impossible, Titanic. Even some dumb movies like Congo. Like again, it's these core memories.
Fucking disrespect the Congo
that I'll always remember. That it's like, why do you remember this? It's like when Dean, George, and I, for those who live in the area, always reminisce about the old Cherry Hill Mall, and how that whole thing. And I can just visually remember every bit of what that mall used to look like. And I might have been like 6 or 7 or 8 walking that mall and remembering everything about it.
I'll tell you a core memory that's been like stuck with me probably since I was like 3 or 4 was because we've gone way off the rails, people. Don't worry, we'll come back.
It's okay.
Yeah. They're following along. They're fine.
We're humanizing everything.
That's what we're doing.
And aging ourselves at the same time.
Well, I lived when I was like really young. We lived in Burlington on Columbus Road. So we would go to the Burlington Center, like when we go to the mall.
Yeah.
So like a core memory that it stuck with me probably forever and probably explains a lot of like the things that I like food wise, is like we would, every time we went into that main entrance of the Burlington Center where Strawbridge's was on the left side. Like if you're walking in Strawberries on the left side and Sears was on the right, you have like the big opening with the giant bird. As soon as you walk through those doors, the very first thing I would smell would be the cinnamon buns from TJ Cinnabons.
Oh my god!
It was on the fucking end. It was the very first store on the left as soon as you walk through that main entrance. And I would always smell, and that's all I ever wanted was like, hey, can we get TJ Cinnabons? My mom would be like, you're out of your mind. I'm not buying that shit. And like, it's probably why I love like cinnamon buns and cinnamon rolls and all that, and like why I'm a big cinnamon fan. It's probably because of that. But that's
you were neglected from them.
Yeah. Now I'm overcompensating at 40. But that's one of those like core memories we're talking about that is always like stuck with me. And like this moment, like with Scott Hall, this is a core moment for every millennial wrestling fan.
For sure. I mean, it's no doubt a top 5 moment ever if you're a millennial and you were around for this.
Yeah.
No doubt.
If you're old enough to remember the Monday Night Wars, this is the moment. This is the big moment. To put it in like terms, like this was the first real shot at the target. And then on the inverse, the other thing I mentioned with like the Radicals debut, that especially when you look at what was the follow with WCW, that was the kill shot. That was like, all right, you guys are fucking done because now you have nobody. Like you have no real future to build your company around because your 4 biggest stars your 4 biggest young stars that you could push. Malenko notwithstanding, because he was old in the fucking 90s.
Yeah.
Like they came over and it was just like, now you're basically left with the old guard, the people that brought you to the table anyway, that brought eyes to the product, your Lex Lugers, your Stings, your Hogans, like Flairs. Now that's all you got left.
Yeah.
And they're 5 years older than they were when Nitro started.
No doubt, man.
And they didn't get better with age. Only DDP, but DDP's barely fucking used as of right now anyway, so.
All right, so we'll just continue on the show here. Diamond Dallas Page versus Sergeant Craig Pittman. Again,
Speaking of
DDP, we get a diamond cutter here at the end, and a decent diamond cutter at 3 minutes. Whatever. This was what it was. Sergeant Pittman wasn't anyone that you ever stopped what you were doing to watch, but you could tell though here in 96. That diamond cutter was starting to it was starting to swell. That undercurrent of popularity for DDP was slowly starting to manifest each week that he was hitting that diamond cutter. And you saw it here too. So
remember like
nice
a few
work.
months ago, Craig Pittman was running around trying to find a manager.
Yes.
I guess he finally found one because we never really got a conclusion to that.
No.
And then I brought up to you, like with DDP, essentially losing his title shot to Lex Luger. Luger wasn't even in the Battle Bowl match.
I know.
So why did he even get the title shot?
Oh, dude, we talk about Luger all the time where it's like it's like every single week they had no idea what to do with him. So let's just put him here, put him there. Hell, let's give him a title shot.
Yeah, why not?
I think it's because of how over he was. Because, I mean, he's just one of the most over acts in wrestling at this point, for sure. Meanwhile, though, the Shark has to cut a serious promo against a Giant while wearing a shark costume with his face painted like a shark. Let's cut a serious promo, ladies and gentlemen.
And then he was in his promos about how he's no longer with the Dungeon of Doom. And my question to that, Chris, is when did he join the Dungeon of Doom?
Great question there, George.
Wasn't he Avalanche like a few months ago? Why is he now the Shark?
I don't remember when he got his head shaved, his half of his head shaved.
You mean in this match?
That's correct. Correct.
By Big Bubba, who also is in the Dungeon of Doom. When the fuck did this happen?
Well, look, the most important thing is we get an awesome vignette about Hulk Hogan being more than just the greatest champion in history.
God,
what a relief.
This is such a... Like, here I thought I was watching a PG television program, and I watched a 40-year-old man get a fellatio for 5 minutes on fucking TV.
He said it. He said it.
That's all that was just one big blowjob to how big of a star Hogan is. Like, yeah, we fucking get it, man.
Well, we get to hour number 2, the only hour, tougher than Chuck Norris.
The only hour tougher than a $2 steak.
That's right. Well, McDivitt's going to be calling you because that's gimmick infringement on JR.
Yeah, come get me, old man.
Your hosts are Eric Bischoff and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Eric is not even going to dignify the previous attempt at Scott Hall's invasion with a response. Probably not the best idea after what just happened. You're the second hour. Sometimes people are just tuning into you because people watch Raw, and you're not even really going to mention it. So not the smartest idea from Eric Bischoff, but
then he mentions it anyway by not mentioning it. I'm not even going to dignify what happened earlier with a response. Well, you are technically, idiot.
Oh man, George is on a roll with this show. WCW World Title match. Here we go. The Giant versus the Shark. What? Why? Like, come on.
Imagine, if you will, if the Shark won, and then the Shark and Lex Luger would be the main event of Great American Bash.
I wouldn't put it by him, but I would. What a nightmare. This is like a sci-fi movie at some point.
And I mean no disrespect to John Tenta at all, because as big men go, that dude could fucking move.
Oh, Tenta,
dude
yeah.
could move for days.
I agree. Yeah, I like Tenta a lot.
It just... like, you went from having the seriousness of Scott Hall to then, like, the jokey bullshit of the Shark.
I know. It was hard. And, Shark attacks Giant in the corner.
Shark attack.
Right? He fires away with a jumping double sledge, but Giant no-sells it and slams him. They wander around slowly around the ring. Giant runs into a boot into the corner. But Shark goes after Jimmy Hart, gets chokeslammed at 4 minutes. This brings out Big Bubba, who has been repackaged yet again into a cleaner version, I guess, of Big Bubba Rogers when he was in Dungeon of Doom. And he shaves half of Shark's hair.
For some reason.
I don't know, man. I just don't have answers for this.
I just want to let you know real quick that when I watched this match, and when Big Bubba came out with his sunglasses and his goatee and his overweight body and his sleeveless shirt, I'm staring at him and I'm looking at myself and I'm like, oh, fuck. Someone needs to lose a little bit of weight.
Oh, knock it off.
Because I'm looking at him, I'm like, damn. And then his last name was Rogers, too. It's like, come on, man. What do you, like, you're just speaking to me at this point. I swear to God, I am not the second coming of Big Bubba, and we're going to leave it at that.
Yeah, you're not.
Growing my goatee back out, it's a whole fucking
thing. World TV title now, Lex Luger versus Max Muscle.
He just went by Max.
Yeah. That's because he's off the gas and he lost half of his muscle.
He's on that masterpiece. He's on that masterpiece diet.
He is very much so. But Dude, like, I guess also Lex Luger is 100% a babyface right now, and I don't know. This was bad. Like, I give this negative 10 stars. This was so bad.
Are you still a babyface if your opponent doesn't get a reaction from the crowd?
I guess.
Like, they didn't boo, they didn't cheer. They're just like, oh, I didn't know this guy was still employed.
Yeah. Near the end here, Luger comes back around with a nice comeback with the stainless steel forearm of death, and finishes this goof with the torture rack at 5 minutes and 45 seconds. This might have been maybe the worst match I've seen ever. I mean, I was thinking about it when I was watching it, and I got to the end. I'm thinking this might be right up there with one of the worst things I've ever seen ever. Afterwards, Lex points out to Mean Gene that he doesn't make the matches and didn't steal DDP's title shot at the Bash. And also, he's going to beat the shit out of every big guy WCW has to offer while tuning up for the Giant. Very sound strategy there, Lex.
So what? He's going to fight 3 people?
That's correct, George. That's correct. That's what the Luger is saying.
You got a built-in feud with Lex Luger and DDP, and we just don't even try.
No. No. Look, Lord Steven Regal versus Alex Wright, and again, I'm usually actually the biggest Steven Regal fan.
You skipped a match, you son of a bitch.
Did I? Oh, I'm so sorry.
How dare you skip Hard Work Bobby Walker and Brad Armstrong?
Oh, you're right. My bad. I'm so sorry. Near the end, I guess, what did I have here? Oh, okay. Walker, Hard Work Bobby Walker jumps off the top rope. He actually slips and nearly breaks his neck, and then does it again.
Hard botch Bobby Walker.
Yeah, he finishes with a shitty blockbuster or shoulder block or whatever. Just so terrible. Let's just get to the next match.
It was so fucking bad. Just so bad.
Back to back, 2 of the worst matches I've ever seen.
When you thought
Lord Steven Regal
it could
versus
get worse. Yeah.
And it did. Oh, yeah. Lord Steven Regal versus Alex Wright. This was also just not good. And I hated to say it.
But on paper, it should have been.
On paper, it should have been the best match of the night.
On paper, I'm looking at Steven Regal. I'm looking at Alex Wright. It's like, oh, this is going to be like a catch-as-catch-can, great fucking match.
Strong style mixed in.
And I was left just kind of disappointed.
I was very disappointed in this match. I actually thought during this match, dude, that Heenan was pretty loaded on this show. The way he was talking and how he was doing commentary with Heenan. The commentary was getting worse and worse as the night went on from these two. Even though they are talking through a boring match, Wright gets a comeback with a heel kick. Regal takes him down the corner with a bridge for a pin at 10 minutes. I can't believe this match got 10 minutes. Bischoff and Heenan would not shut the hell up about their stupid bullshit for this whole thing. And it ruined the match to me.
It does. If they're not invested in the match, then why would we be invested in the match?
I totally agree, man. And that happened a lot with Heenan in this era. But once he broke away from Bischoff, Heenan kind of got a lot better.
I think that's the thing. I think Heenan just kind of hated working with Bischoff because Bischoff Bischoff was giving him nothing. Gorilla would give Bobby shit to talk about. Vince would give King stuff to go off of. Shivani would feed in to Heenan. You need the one guy to feed into the other. They just say something and then you got to have a quip and then knock that off. How would you say that? Meanwhile, Bischoff's just blah, 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 then Heenan's just joke.
Exactly. He has the sheet here and it goes, okay, Bischoff talks, joke. Got it.
Insert pun here.
Exactly. Afterwards, Regal notes that here on Memorial Day, his father would be proud of him beating Junior Adolf out there.
They just let they didn't learn their lesson from the Final Solution. They doubled down.
They let that one go. He throws out a challenge to Sting so that he can get a shot at the circus freak we call a champion. Well, that was pretty good too. Sting versus Scott Steiner were here for the main event. Sting's hair, man, is fully undyed and growing out here. And I was like, oh, here we go with Stinger, baby. I enjoyed this version of Sting. This version of Sting, no lie. I love the Crow because of what we got. But I think this version of Sting right here might have been my favorite. I really enjoyed once he stopped, dyeing his hair and letting everything grow out. I just really enjoyed this Sting.
He's also toning up a little bit too. He's slimming down a little bit, so he's probably off the good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Near the end of the match here with Steiner, Scott misses hit Sting with a Samoan drop off the middle rope, which was pretty badass. But the Frankensteiner misses and Sting hooks the Scorpion. Scott makes the ropes and they trade tombstones and Sting gets 2. They fight on the apron and suplex each other to the floor, which then triggers a big brawl between the two teams that we got here with a double DQ at 10:18. Just really dull stuff. Some really good stuff in the middle there with some good action between the two. I mean, on any normal night, if Bischoff allowed these two to have a real match that meant something, I feel like it would be really, really good. But with Lex there and Rick down there now, you knew it was just going to be a brouhaha.
This goes back to what I was saying about Seth Rollins at the start of the show. What's the feud with Lex? Are you feuding with the Giant? Are you defending the TV title every week?
Mm-hmm.
Are you feuding along with Sting with the Steiners? Yeah. But the Steiners also just had a non-finish match.
Correct.
The previous week. So this is the second non-finish match in a row for the Steiners.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think that there would be a resolution to that this week, and it wasn't. Instead, we hot-shied Sting and Scott Steiner.
It was just random.
Which these guys are going to have better matches in like 3 or 4 years. So
exactly. Agreed. Totally agree, man.
Yeah.
That was my thoughts exactly.
That suplex spot looked bad.
It did. It really did.
I'm surprised nobody got crippled after that.
Oh, I know. Brett probably thought even at this time Seth Rollins would have hurt him.
Yeah, he's fucking Goldberg.
Eric and Bobby wrap things up for the evening, but Scott Hall interrupts a second time, and he wants WCW to find 3 of their best guys and have a match. We're taking over. And how true of a statement that was.
Who's we? You know who. No, I don't. Yes, you do. You fucking signed him, you asshole. Well, you know who one of them is. Don't let anyone tell you that they knew who the third man was right away, because
they didn't.
They didn't.
They did not. Not until it happened, because brother can be persuaded.
Could be. I mean, it could be anybody. It could be Dr. Tom Pritchard. It could be the British Bulldog. Mm-hmm. It could be Mabel. It's probably one of those two, honestly.
It's probably going to be the British Bulldog.
I don't know, man. Who said Bulldog?
I think Dave Meltzer.
Oh, so it's probably right
then. Look, aside from the biggest angle in the history of history launching here, dude, this Nitro was the worst Nitro yet.
This was the debut at 2 hours. How did they not just go, all right, go back to 1, like after this week?
Yeah, I agree. Once the Luchadors started finding their way into this mid-card, the pacing of these shows would get much better. But again, if Scott Hall is not on this show, hands down the worst Nitro to date.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of the worst wrestling shows that you watch with how it was set up and how it was executed.
Poorly produced.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely lackluster matches that on paper, a couple of them should have been a lot better than what they were. And it's bad when an Ahmed Johnson match is the best match of the week.
Agreed. Can we say Raw was the better show, but we have to give it the Nitro?
Raw was a better show, But I still, do you give it to Nitro because of the one moment? Because we rate these shows, on the whole, not just like per segment. Segment wise, yes, like Hall's debut is one of the biggest moments in wrestling history.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason why nobody else remembers this Nitro.
For sure.
Because it is 100% forgettable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I gotta give it to Raw.
That's the thing. Like, it's where you would think, like, going into this week, Scott Hall's debut, Raw or Nitro gets an easy win. But when you watch the rest of that show, no.
Awful.
It's
awful.
Bad. Like, bowling shoe ugly bad.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Just crazy. It's just such a bad show. But look, it did give us one of the most monumental moments ever. So it's always going to be near and dear to me. But whenever I do go back and watch that episode, it's like, man, I may have just witnessed the worst wrestling show to date.
I mean, granted, we didn't get great wrestling over on Raw.
No.
But we did, I mean, just kind of looking at the positives through that. Unfortunately, there really is no positives through Nitro because everything's kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You do get a feud starter with Jerry Lawler and Ultimate Warrior. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere, but Jerry Lawler is one of the best in ring. When it comes to in-ring psychology, I mean, he'll have a great match with a broomstick and then give himself a title.
Yeah,
we got that. We had King of the Ring qualifiers, so that furthers that. We had a segment with Ahmed Johnson and Goldust that makes you want to tune in the next week and see what the fallout's going to be from that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they are going to have like the second Beware of Dog that we're going to get. So obviously Austin is going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And DiBiase is going to be gone, so he can jump ship to WCW in a couple months.
Yeah, yep.
But with DiBiase gone, now Stone Cold can be Stone Cold.
That's right.
Which also means we're going to get the debut of the Stunner soon.
Thank God.
That's coming. And it's coming hard, like Mongo.
That's right, like Mongo and Kevin Green.
So now, we've reviewed the Great American Bash a couple different times. This one, the 196. And Macho doesn't have a match. He's in the corner for Kevin Green and Mongo.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that match, obviously there's still more that's going on because Mongo turns heel and joins the Horsemen and all that. And then like they just dropped the Savage and Flair feud like that.
I know.
Because Savage goes and joins Sting and Luger to fight the NWO.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man.
There was no payoff to that. It's
very
frustrating.
And we've talked about before how it feels like there was a lot of things in WCW where like, this is good. When was the payoff? Oh, it never happened. Gotcha. Everything, so many things just hot-shotted. And look, I get it because it's a ratings game. But at some point, the rubber's got to meet the road, and you got to have payoffs to things.
I mean, eventually we get that with some stuff, but
of course, yeah. Monday Night War ratings. Let me see.
I believe Nitro had it slightly. I think it was like 2.3, 2.1, something like that. I looked at it earlier. I could be wrong.
Let's see here. 2.8, 2.3. Yep. And I think when Raw wins in 2 weeks, I think that's their last win for 86 weeks. I'm looking at it now. Yeah. They don't win again for 86 weeks. 83 weeks, I'm sorry.
83 weeks.
Crazy. All right. So thank you guys so very much. That was probably the longest episode we've done to date. But look, when we cover what is it, Great American Bash at the Beach again?
Once Raw hits 2 hours, these shows are really gonna be getting long. So
yeah,
because Nitro's gonna jump to 3 at some point too.
Just shoot me. All right. If you guys are watching on YouTube, thank you so very much. Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're usually live every single week right around this time, Wednesdays or Thursdays. Seems to be our sweet spot here. So should be back at the same time or so around that next week. We'll have to work around George's schedule because probably for about 5 days, I won't even talk to George. He'll be working so much, but nonetheless,
he'll be one of those things. You'll be calling me at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm just gonna answer the phone and be like, "Fuck off," and then we're gonna go back to sleep.
I'm gonna do it on purpose now, just to hear it. But all right, everyone, thank you so very much for tuning in. I'm George. I'm not George. That's George Rogers. I'm Christy Francesco. I'm tired, guys. I'm sorry, and we'll catch you all down the road. Have a good one, everybody. Bye bye.